Hello, hello. And it is I, Faith Jacobs, your head creative of Chaotic Idiots, the series, and of course, Tir Na Knock. That's TIRNOCNA. Goes before the NOC because Chaotic Idiots has transcripts, and the transcripts are automatic and they get it wrong. That's, again, TIRNANOC. Tir Na Knock. And for those who don't know, it is the Fae Fairy Homeland, but that's not what today's I suppose update is about. So, last time I was on here, I suddenly came to the realization that there are 298 of you who listened to this show. And I also came to the sudden realization that when I type in Chaotic Idiots, that it even has ratings and reviews on IMDb. Well, maybe not reviews, but it definitely has ratings. And, somebody decided to rate bomb because, I don't know, they're an angry little troll. And in the words of Elf, they're an angry elf. For some reason, but that's okay. That's proof you've made it. I suppose. So, Chaotic Idiots has concluded its run. But I have not concluded my run as a creative. Down below, in the description below, if the 297 of you are interested to see a more mature me taking on a more mature story that still champions neurodivergency and particularly autism, but more through the lens of history, I would like to kindly invite all of you to come over to Faithfully Yours Mozart the Courtship. Now, what is this about? Well, Faithfully Yours Mozart is a complete 180 from Chaotic Idiots. We are not talking about fantasy here, we are talking about historical fiction. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Historical fiction, Faith, we're in the era of romantasy, we're in the era of, escapism and fantasy. Hear me out when I say that this take on the story of Wolfgang is certainly not Amadeus, and it is most definitely not a history lesson. To paraphrase some wording from Queen Charlotte, it is fiction inspired by fact. It is a piece of fictional dramatization inspired by factual research. And so it's not going to teach you a lesson about Mozart necessarily. It's not going to spew to you the same things that Amadeus and all the other Mozart movies have spewed to you, which is that Mozart was born, he lived, he grew up, he traveled Europe, he married Constanza, and then that he died. No. I saw the pattern of sameness in all these Mozart movies as I was doing my research and said to myself, this is boring. And I said it's boring because Amadeus is probably the only unique Mozart movie out there to ever grace the screens, and it's also going to grace the TV screens. Much to the chagrin of people, I suppose. But, beggars can't be choosers. It is a Mozart revolution. If that's not your cup of tea, there's going to be a German Mozart series coming out at some point. So, where my Mozart project falls into the grander scheme of Mozart, I suppose, projects, is that it is the first openly neurodivergent take on the story of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and his future wife, Constanza, where for the first time, Constanza Weber is not seen as the other woman. She's not ditzy. She's not stupid. She is inherently an Elizabeth Bennet. Do you like Pride and Prejudice? Did you weep and sob and cry and have tears of empathy when you enjoyed Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story? Are you fond of Jane Austen? Do you like, the Bridgerton-esque, Regency romance style? If that is for you, allow me to offer you this. Faithfully Yours Mozart is that and then some. It is practically neurodivergent Bridgerton is how I would frame it for you, my captive audience who came out of nowhere like a truck, and I am so sorry that I was not here to witness this growth. Life happened outside the booth after Tir Nanak ended, after the season called Tir Nanak Brotherhood ended for Chaotic Idiots. When the story of Edgar concluded, I laid down and took a 3-month long hiatus where I went to bed at 9 p.m. because I was exhausted. Because at the time I was a young creator who didn't know her limits and didn't understand that the boundaries of rest are not things that we should be putting off. It is something that we should inherently be taking time, when is necessary to actually rest. And that's what I did, which is why I really wasn't around when all of a sudden there was a burst of growth. And it's amazing that over 297 of you clicked like and listened and gave this a chance, or at least tried with all its flaws and imperfections. But I can promise you that in the what has long has it been since I did Tir Nanak? 2 years? My God, 2 years? in the 2 years since season 2 of Chaotic Idiots, the prequel story to Chaotic Idiots, I should say, I have learned so much. I have changed as a creator. I have grown. I have matured. My skills have improved. And in the description below, I will share with you where you can find Faithfully Yours Mozart the Courtship. Beautifully, you can find this project wherever you get your podcast. If you listen to us on Good Pods, if you listen to us on Apple Podcast, we're on Audible, we're on Amazon Music, we are on YouTube, if that's easier for you. We are on Podchaser. We are on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio for all intents and purposes. We are everywhere that you can possibly think of, that is humanly possible to be on podcast-wise. So what I will say is this. I know that maybe there are some of you who were waiting for maybe Chaotic Idiots to come back, because I had hoped it might come back after Tir Nanak season 2 had ended, but that is not the case. But that doesn't mean that I have abandoned it. It may just happen in a different format. It may happen in book format. It may happen in other forms of media. There's all kinds of ways that media can evolve. And I'm always trying to dip my toes back into that realm occasionally. The realm of Jacob Faust and his friends, and of Edgar and Sirius, and all the characters of this world are not forgotten by me. Trust me. They're near and dear to my heart, even to this day. But right now the project that is making headlines and waves on at least Good Pods in the rankings, we just made it to top 10 podcasts for the month. In the drama category, it's Faithfully Yours Mozart. Faithfully Yours Mozart the Courtship. The first, as mentioned, openly neurodivergent-led Mozart project, where Mozart is not only voiced by an autistic lead, but in the ensemble, there are many neurodivergent actors who are openly neurodivergent, and showing that it is entirely possible that those with disabilities are quite capable of doing anything they set their mind to. As was shown here with Chaotic Idiots, it is immersive, it is aimed at an adult audience, and sure, there's a little bit of romance, but it's more than that. It is so much deeper than that. It is meant to be an encouraging story in such a divisive time as we live in. So, if you'd like to support us there, please do. And until then, I have been Faith Jacobs, signing off.